Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Learning Online at DeGroote. I hope everyone is doing well, and I really want to thank you for joining us here today. I just want to put out that we are recording this so that we can share it with others later, and just to capture the questions and things that you might have. And so that we can use that for us when we're advising students later on. So just want to put that out there that this is being recorded and we will be sharing it with others later, so you're aware of that. And just a couple things before we do get started. We will be welcoming your questions. I know some of you have submitted questions ahead of time, but we will be welcoming your questions. So if you can type those into the chat, and then when we get near the end, then we will answer your questions as best as we possibly can. I'm going to put up in front, there's going to be a few things that we don't know the answers to, but you asking the questions sends us in the direction of where we need to go and find some answers as best as we possibly can. So we're all learning together. And so I'm going to also say we are all learning together. This is the first time we're doing a webinar like this, so there might be a couple of technical glitches as we go along. So thank you for your patience and working through this with us. So again, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here, and really do look forward to those questions that you have, because it guides us as to what we need to be thinking about and the answers we need to be getting for you. Okay, so first thing we have up, this is going to be a little bit interactive. I said we have your questions, but also we're going to be doing some polls. So our first poll, if you can click on the link in the chat, it's have you taken a course online before? And yes, no. And what I'd like to ask you is to answer this question, not including those courses that took that went online at the last minute in the winter term. So have you taken a course online prior to that, or concurrently with that? Okay. So I can see that 9 of you have voted yes, 7 have voted no, at least what's showing on my screen right now. 10 at no now. So a few of you have taken, so you have a bit of experience. A number of you have not, so that's why you're here. Okay, so very important that we try to answer your questions, and we try to share with you what we know about what's going to be happening in your courses for this spring and summer. So thank you for that. That's really valuable information for us to know. The next slide that I'm going to be sharing. This is not relevant to the actual learning online, but I found this this slide very relevant for me when it was shared with me. It was Professor Tour that shared it with me, and as I said, it really resonated with me. The different emotions that I felt throughout this COVID-19 pandemic that we've all been experiencing. And I know the first couple of weeks when we first shifted to going online, I felt like it was survival method. And I think all of you too probably felt that as well, as you were, trying to figure out what you needed to do for your courses. The communications that were coming out weren't always clear. How am I going to do my group work? How am I going to do my assignments? How am I going to manage myself, moving myself home, being, confined to my house, those types of things. So the survival. And then after we kind of figured out what we were doing, we moved on into acceptance, and sort of we've all got into this new norm of how we are living, how we're interacting, how we're connecting with others. I think once we got into that phase, we launched Discord. I hope all of you are members of Discord and how we can connect. We're trying to create that virtual DSB lobby and the bistro. So please connect on Discord if you haven't. But we got into acceptance, and we just, we figured out how to manage. And then I think we're starting to go into the phase now of growth, where we're seeing the positives, the good things that are coming out of this, the time that we have to reflect, the time we have to spend with, the people that we care about, new things that we're learning, new how we're developing ourselves, and just that reflection. So I just wanted to share that with you because it really resonated with me and made me feel comfortable in that what I'm feeling, other people are feeling as well. And you know, I know this is kind of the cliche phrase right now, but we are all in this together and we're all going through the same things together as well. So I just wanted to share that with you, just to make you realize that all of those emotions are normal. So I'd like to move to the next slide now. And the first, the question you probably are asking, I know we had these questions coming in from our students: where will my course take place? Where do I go on the first day? Where do I show up for class? What do I do? You know, we used to always look at the, the schedule and find out where our classroom was. And I know you always would have to check it at the last minute as well, because sometimes that happened to me once my class changed where I was teaching and I showed up in the wrong room because I didn't check it at the last minute to see if the class had changed. So that's changed for us now. And so Avenue is your classroom. So go to Avenue. That's where all the communication, all the messaging will be. It will tell you where you need to show up on the first day. The course outline will be there, and you'll get the details that you need to be successful in the course. Okay, so it'll include your learning materials, give you guidance on what the activities and assessments will be. And it should also let you know what the platform is where you will be, participating in your class, whether it will be Zoom or WebEx or what have you. That is up to the instructor. The instructor will be choosing the platform that you're using. I think you've probably already, just in the end of winter 2020, had experience with Zoom and WebEx. Probably those first 3 classes were a little bit, bumpy getting started, but we're expecting them to be better as we move through into the spring, summer, as our instructors now have more experience and had a little bit more time to prepare. So we're expecting, that to be a lot smoother, but that's where you go to your Avenue course shell to get the information that you need. So now, what technology do you need? We all know this. We need reliable internet connection. So when you are signed on for your class, make sure that you have great internet connection. We've all had that experience, I'm sure, up to now, where you've been kicked off a call, or you've frozen, or someone else is frozen. So do your very best. Talk to the other people in your house, your family members, your housemates, what have you, and try to get as much bandwidth as you possibly can when you are participating in the class. So you'll need, on top of that, a laptop or a computer. Headphones and mic are recommended as they, cut back on the feedback. I think also help you to stay focused because you're listening to what's in your ears, and that hopefully it, shuts out some of the external noises that are happening in your house and will keep you focused on what's happening in class. So that's recommended. And then you'll need to have access to those other tools selected by your instructor. So if you need to, download the apps or the platforms to your computer, have that done. So the Zoom, the WebEx, Echo 360, Top Hat. I know a number of instructors have told us they'll be using Top Hat to track participation and different things. Ebooks. A number of the instructors have switched the course text or ebooks or other resources that you can have as well to support the class. So again, your Avenue shell should have that information for you along with the course outline. I'll also point out, don't be afraid to email your instructors and be appreciative as well that they're learning alongside with you. They've had a couple weeks prepare. We're hearing great things that they know what they're doing. They are prepared, but just understand some of the questions you ask might be new questions to them as well as to how to be successful in an online environment. So it might take them a little bit of time to get back to you and think about what the response will be. But always know that you have that resource of your instructors as well. So next, what is expected of me? How am I successful? How am I going to be successful in an online course? And in a few minutes, I will have 3 of our students talk to you about their experiences in an online course and what their tips are of being successful. So I think that's probably the most important, valuable part of the webinar today. But you have a few more slides with me before we can get to that point. What is expected of me? Check your course in Avenue daily. Stay on top of things, okay? You can't rely on, you're not going to be seeing your classmates walking around the halls. You're not going to be running into your professors and different people on campus that will remind you that an assignment is due or what different things are happening in the class. So stay on top of your course. Check your Avenue website at least once a day to see what's happening. Don't be afraid to, as I said earlier, communicate with your instructor, communicate with your classmates, okay? Understand what's happening in the class, ask questions, use the comments, use the chat screens, okay? This is your way of communicating and making things clear. You aren't going to have, as we typically have, that opportunity at the beginning of class or on the class break to have that one-on-one with the professor that you can, just bump into them or run up and ask them a question. So you're going to have to be more proactive in sending those emails or using the chats when you're having your class time to ask those questions, okay? I'll just, I know this goes without saying, but be sure when you are doing that, it's respectful of your instructor as well as, the other students as well. One thing nice about using the chat is if you ask the question, then the response comes back and everybody in the class, because a lot of times the questions that you have, other students have as well, so it can be shared. So there's some positives that comes out of this. Make sure you participate in all of the activities. I know a number of the instructors are going to be having participation in their courses this summer. They'll be run very similarly to what you do in class. So there will be participation. Some of them are using technology to track it, through Top-Hat. Some of them are having the TAs on the call to track on the course website on the call to track the participation as well. But you'll find that out in your first class. Ask the question if it's not clear, but be sure to participate. I find when I'm on these calls, it's better to stay engaged. I've had a lot of Zoom calls over the last number of weeks. Stay engaged by participating. If you get distracted, it's hard to get back into the class. So stay engaged. Again, goes without saying, complete all your coursework. Stay on top of it. I know I've had some conversations with students over the last few weeks where they're like, I don't even know what day it is. I had one student I was talking to, he logged on for a final exam and the exam was 2 days later. He was 2 days early because he thought the day was a different day than it was. So make sure you keep a calendar and track what you need to do on each day, because you don't want to, that worked out for him because he was 2 days early, not 2 days late. But be sure that you complete all your work and stay on top of it. Understand your instructor's role, okay? Your instructor, just like always, provides you with the learning materials and the activities and facilitates your learning, but it is your responsibility to do the work, okay? It's your responsibility to do the learning, do the coursework, hand in the deliverables and all of that. But please know that our instructors, they really are understanding of what's going on right now. And so if you have questions, if you have concerns, don't be afraid to reach out to them. But understand that they are there to facilitate your learning, that you still have to take on that academic responsibility yourself. Big question, how will I be graded? And I know some of the questions that came in ahead of time were asking about this as well. How will I be graded? As I said earlier, participation. I know that a number of instructors, we've asked them, will still be doing participation in the online environment. That is possible. You've probably already been, separated into breakout groups. You've had participation in your, the classes through the last couple of weeks of the winter term. It will be monitored and it will be part of your grade for many of your courses. Assignments, you'll still have assignments similar to what you've had in the past. They might look a little bit different. How you hand them in could look a little bit different. You won't be handing them in, a hard copy, but you will be required to, to hand in through Avenue, through email. Most of the instructors we've talked to, it's going to be, Avenue submission, but some of them are asking for email submission. So just be clear on what the instructor wants. And again, remember those deadlines. Quizzes. A lot of instructors are talking about having more quizzes and less of those exams, midterms and finals. So you might find in some of your courses that it's broken down so there's multiple quizzes throughout the term, just and to break it down, and if they're easier to manage and monitor. Many of them will be facilitated through Avenue. as well. So I think you're getting a little bit more comfortable with respect to that. There will be also exams. And so we are, just as a heads up, the university as a whole is looking at an exam platform, that we can use for the writing of exams. We didn't have something officially in place for these last set of final exams, but we are hoping to have something that's more formal for the spring and summer term. So I can't tell you exactly what that's going to look like, but it is being, there's a working group at the university working on that right now to ensure that we have the appropriate measures in place for successful exam writing for our students. Presentations, discussions, all of that, same as in the past. So you can get creative. I know some of the instructors, what they required for presentations is going to look slightly different because you're not going to be there in class, but you can still do it online. Again, you can't be, you won't be getting together with your group members to do the presentations, but I know you're all very creative and you know how to do all that stuff, put a presentation together, in multiple places and make it seem seamless. So again, you'll see some presentations. So everything will look pretty much the same as what the deliverables are. They'll just be adapted for that online environment. So now, as I said earlier, I'm really excited that I have the students that are here that have, yes, okay, turning on my video. Okay, sorry. So now we're going to, I'm very excited, as I said earlier, that we are, got some students here that have experienced the online learning and that they can share their experiences with you. And we've asked them to let us know, why did you choose to do an online course and how did it go? How did you ensure that you were successful and what were the challenges? And see that we can all learn from their experiences as well. So our first online learner is Mahima Balsara. And Mahima, if you could take over for us, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. So like Sue said, my name is Mahima, and I took the Commerce course for BB3. It was recruitment and selection. I really enjoyed this course because I was able to learn at my own pace and really focus on the units that were difficult for me, and the less hard units I was able to just skip through a little bit and be able to work and really focus on what was important for my learning and what was most beneficial for me. Well, what I found challenging about this was that I really had to take into consideration all the assignments, the quizzes, all that kind of stuff, and it was overwhelming at first because I didn't know what I was doing. But once I figured out that having a calendar is so important and scheduling time out for the online course as if I was going to attend a class is really, really, really beneficial because it kept me so much more organized and it really relieved my stress. And that's a suggestion I give to everyone who asks me about any type of course to take. So that was my learning experience with online classes.
Okay, great, Mahima, thank you so much. And some good tips there. I think I've heard that before. If it happens, some of your courses will be happening synchronously, and some of them will be asynchronous, but make sure that you do remember the course and schedule that time in. I know students in the past have told me that when they've taken an online course, they kind of think it's just, they put it aside and do it when they think about it. And then they get caught at the end because they haven't been on top of all of the course deliverables, the course requirements, and all of that as they've gone through. So schedule it in, treat it as a normal class if you're physically going to it so that you get the work done, you stay on top of it, and that will ensure that you have success in the course. So our next online learner that I'm excited to introduce is Shannon Cribbs.
So hi. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Shannon Cribbs, and so I took the same course as Mahima, and so Commerce 4 BB3, Recruitment and Selection. And with that, my favorite part about the course was how it was all laid out at the beginning. All the lectures were posted, so I was able to kind of schedule in the course at the times that worked for me. And I'm actually on exchange right now, so all of my courses got put online, and it's been really helpful to kind of schedule it in myself, since my exchange school is 6 hours ahead, I would be getting up at 4 a.m. for some courses. So it's really nice to be able to schedule it the way that works best. And the most challenging part for me is definitely the motivation to do the courses. There's, you're on your laptop, you'd rather watch like Netflix or go on YouTube, but I find having a friend in the course really helpful. My friend would motivate me and kind of check in to make sure I did the work, and I would do the same to her. And so it was really helpful to have someone to kind of cheer me on and make sure I got it done, and to ask questions too. As Sue said, you don't really have time in class to ask questions, so it's kind of nice before I went to the professor to just ask a friend.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. That was really helpful. And I agree, having friends and someone to ask questions and go through it with together is always helpful. So some good advice there. And so our last online learner that we're going to be hearing from is Joel McPherson. So I'll turn it over to Joel. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks so much, Sue. Yeah, you know what, exactly as my other two peers here have actually said, there's a lot of learning that comes with being online. And over my 4 years here, I've taken 3 courses that have been online, one of them being geography, the other being sports, and then 2 blended courses. So half of it was in person as well as half being online. And the biggest learning with those was definitely about actually positioning yourself to set amount of time aside to as if you were actually physically in class. So making sure that mentally you're checked in from whether it be 6 to 9 or 7 to 10, but that you're readily available to be engaged in the class, because as soon as you're watching Netflix on the side and not being fully engaged, you're missing a lot of material, and some of that is obviously the most important stuff that you need. So stay engaged throughout the entire time period that you have, and really try to motivate yourself to continuously stick to that routine, because when you build upon that routine, it definitely becomes easier.
Great advice from all of our students. And I think the key is there to stay organized, stay on top of it, and treat it as a normal class. And that's what, what does it take to succeed as an online learner? You've just got some really, really good tips. I just want to go over a few things just one last time, and before we turn it over to questions. So if you do have questions, start typing them into the chat now so that we can get ready to answer them. So number 1, what do you need to do at the beginning? Get ready, review the course outline, okay, and create that schedule as the students have told you. Get on that Avenue shelf, find out when the class time is, find out where you're going to, be meeting with your instructor, with your fellow classmates. Make sure you have the right platforms, apps, all of that downloaded so that you can be successful. 2, stay engaged. The more you put into the course, the more you get out of it. And we all know that from all of our experiences. Respond to the instructor and the TA. Make sure that you stay on top of things. Send questions to them if they are asking questions of you. Participate in the class times when you have the opportunity to participate. Stay engaged. Follow your schedule. Okay, so you've got that schedule laid out. We've all done that. You've put a nice schedule in place, and then things come up. Spring and summer, there could be some nice weather, hopefully soon, and so you might think it's nicer to be outside than doing your work. Schedule some outdoor time, schedule some time to get out there and be active and take breaks, but make sure you stick to your schedule of when you're going to be working on your courses as well. Ask questions. I've said this already. Make sure that, if you have questions, there might be new and different questions this term for these courses that you're taking. So make sure that you ask those questions of the TA or of the instructor or your fellow classmates, as Shannon was saying. Sometimes they have the answers for you because they might have heard something slightly differently in the class than how you've heard it. Meet the requirements, submit everything on time, do the work, okay? And then as always, review the feedback, reflect, okay? And adjust your learning strategies. Your learning strategies might be slightly different in an online environment, right? And so how you take notes might be different than what you did when you're sitting in class, right? How you are communicating with your fellow students. You can't just sit right there beside your, when you're the instructor, what did they just say? If you're sitting in person, I know students talk when I'm lecturing, they're talking to each other side by side, clarifying things. I know it's always focused on the lecture. But there's different ways of how you then are going to be communicating with your fellow classmates, how you're going to reflect on your notes. So you may have to adjust those learning strategies. So a lot of this, the tips that we're giving you are similar to what you need to be successful in your normal, your in-person classes, but just need to adapt them slightly to be successful in that online environment. Okay. So now, before we turn over to the questions, we have one more poll for you. So if you go to the poll, it's in the link in the chat again. How confident do you feel about being a successful online learner? Okay, hopefully we've helped you a bit, but just from your experience already that you've had. So if you could turn to that poll and give us your answers. Okay, I'm looking at the results now. They're just coming in. Few of you are confident. Oh, it's going up and down. A good chunk of you are feeling pretty confident. Some of you are very confident. There's some uncertainty and there's some anxiousness as well, which is to be expected. And that's why we wanted to do this. And we're going to turn over to questions and try to hopefully answer some of your questions you have that will make you less uncertain and less anxious. I'm going to just say one more time, make sure that if you do have questions, reach out to the TA, reach out to the instructor, reach out again to our academic advisors in our student experience office, because they can sometimes help you as well, and to be successful. So we are all here. We want you to be successful. We're here to provide that guidance and give you advice and get you on the right track. But it is really not surprising. These results actually, is what I was expecting, that there's going to be some of you that are feeling uncertain and are feeling anxious about learning online. So now, if we could, have your questions, start typing those in if you haven't already, and that will help me, because then I can answer your questions as best as I can. I'm going to say up front, there might be some that I'm not able to answer, but I'll do my best, and we'll get back to you. Okay, so the first question that I have is, I have a time conflict between courses. How can I apply for permission to attend both? I really want to attend both classes. Will times for courses be changed to accommodate? Unfortunately, no, that's not possible if they're at the same time. Many of the courses are going to be running synchronously, and so the instructor is planning to have those courses, run at the scheduled time. So because of that, it makes it, you're not able to have two courses at the same time. I'm just going to check with Greg. Have I answered that appropriately, Greg? Is there anything else we want to add?
No, that's it. We want students to be able to fully participate, and oftentimes there's participation included in these courses. We want students to be free and able to really engage.
Okay, great. And yeah, that is true. We did a survey of the instructors that are teaching this spring, summer, and a huge proportion of them are having participation in their classes. So that's another good reason that you need to be able to be there in class. Okay. Next question. For Commerce 3 AB3 this spring, I don't have a webcam on my laptop, but the course outline says a webcam is required. What should I do? You can purchase a webcam. I know it's hard to get into stores, but through Amazon and different suppliers, I would highly recommend that you do have a webcam. If you aren't able to get it prior to the first class, I'm not sure, you might be able to use your phone with the camera on your phone so that you can be on camera and there to participate. I believe the webcam is probably required for that participation component. And also, I can tell you some conversations I've had with students is they've actually really enjoyed being able to see their fellow classmates in the class. It helps to keep them engaged in the class, but also it's feels comforting to see their friends and their classmates and make it feel like it is an in-person class as well. So I would recommend that you order a webcam, but in the meantime, if you have to use your phone, that would be possible. Okay, next question. Would it be possible to attend various classes to demo them without registering for them? That's a difficult thing. It's not going to be the same as when we have in-person classes because you need to have the link to the class. You need to be registered in the class to be able to attend the class. That is a limitation of online learning. We've all heard of Zoom bombing and people being in meetings that they shouldn't be in. So at this point, that's not possible. What I would recommend is if you have questions about a course, to contact the instructor. And ask them questions about it, and potentially they might be able to give you some ideas as to what the course is going to entail, what the components are, and they might even, have a short conversation with you over Zoom or over in a different platform to explain to you what the lectures are like to get that feeling. So I apologize for that, but unfortunately, with the way we are set up for online, that's not possible at this point. Okay, and please, if you do have other questions, put them in the chat. That is our only way of communicating with you, unfortunately, right now with this webinar. I can't see you I really hate this, not being able to see you, but I can't see you to see your hands raised or to see if you're answering, if you have questions for me. So please put them into the chat and then we'll do our best to answer those questions. Okay, next question. Would it be possible to attend various classes to demo them without, oh, sorry, that same one. Okay, no problem. Next question. When do we get to know the list of professors teaching each course? That should be getting posted soon. Some of them have been posted already, but they should be posted soon. So keep watching, and then the course outline, when the link to the course outline will allow you to do that. I'll see if Greg would like to add anything to that.
I did see the question come in and I've checked, and all of the commerce courses have the instructors listed. We can't really speak to when the other faculties are uploading theirs.
Okay, so you should be able to see who the instructors are now, and I believe most of the course outlines are also posted, so you can look on that too. Next question. Sorry everyone, I'm just going through the chat because the questions are now starting to come in. I have well, students, yeah. Okay. How are groups going to be assigned for courses that require group work? Again, that will be done course by course, instructor preference and how they're doing that. I know some instructors are planning to do it randomly, and some instructors are planning to allow you to choose your own groups. I know that we will have students living in different places across the world, different time zones. So that could cause some complexity in doing group work. So if there is situations like that, I would, in the first class or so, or even before the class, let the instructor know that might be a concern for the making up the group. So that's a really good question. So I would recommend that you talk to the instructor about that if it's going to be complicated for you for group work. Next question. Will the university consider adding another section or changing online course times to accommodate for conflicts? We won't be changing the course times. That's not possible. And our schedule is now set for this spring summer. We did add some additional different courses already based on demand. But you have to understand as well that we can only offer so many, with the resources and the instructors and all of that goes into making those decisions. But the schedule now is set for the spring and summer. So the next question, do instructors still reserve the right to have participation related grades, or will learning be done at our own time? They do still have the right. As we talked about earlier, there will be participation components. We did a survey of the instructors teaching this summer. A number of them are having participation components. And so a lot of times it will be in the class time. Some of it will be different ways of evaluating participation as well. It might be a summary of a case discussion or a case or things like that. So again, your course outline, those first classes with your instructors will outline how participation is going to be evaluated. But a good chunk of them will be having participation in a normal way in a classroom setting. It just will be done virtually. As I said, some of it will be done through Top Hat, the platform that some instructors are using Top Hat to track participation. Some instructors will be having their TAs in the class with them, tracking participation as they have done in the past as well. Will classes being online, okay. With classes being online, does the university expect to reduce prices as the learning experience is altered? No, this is a difficult question. We are getting it, from a number of students. Online learning, it's the same as, we still have many of the same expenses, if not more expenses in online learning. And so this is a university decision coming down that there will be no change to the tuition for our spring, summer online courses and going through to next year as well, if needed. Will midterms and exams for spring, summer be on Avenue? Some will and some won't. Again, it will be instructor preference. As we talked about earlier, the university is looking, there's a working group right now, essentially looking at an exam platform that we can be using to better administer exams. We didn't have that in place for the winter term exams, but we are looking at that, and it will be rolling out for the spring and the summer courses. So some will be an Avenue and some will be using some other platforms that we can administer a little bit better than what we've been seeing up to this point. Okay, the next question. Are the spring summer courses going to be offered through Avenue to Learn? And if so, when will the courses be uploaded onto Avenue to Learn if we are already enrolled in them? They are going to be offered through Avenue and they should be uploaded now. So if you're not able to get into your course shell, you might want to investigate that. Send an email to the Student Experience Office if you're not seeing, if you are registered in a course and you're not having access. Oh, sorry, Greg's shaking his head. Greg, do you want to answer this?
It's best to talk to the instructor directly. Oftentimes they're developing the course and marking it inactive. And then once everything's all ready to go, they just tick the box and the course goes live on Avenue. But that's with the instructor.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking if you weren't on the list yet, but and the course had gone live. But yeah, if they haven't clicked it on live yet, then you're exactly right. Just wait. And so hopefully Monday it will be live, or at least before your class. Thanks, Greg. Okay. Will the online format for spring, summer be a reflection for online learning if fall and winter becomes online too? If, and it's a big if, we don't know. I'm going to be honest, we don't know what the fall is going to look like. We are planning for everything, but we're planning to be on campus. We all would love to be on campus and to be seeing all of you. But you all can probably guess that there's contingency planning as well for the potential for courses to be online as well. And so we have more time, we have more resources. And so we're really looking at what we can do if we do need to go online in the fall. So the courses that are being offered spring, summer right now, they have the advantage that they're going to be run spring, summer in an online format, so they can be built on and be used for the fall, winter. So there'll be some similarities between what's happening in the spring, summer for the online learning in the fall for those courses. But we're all learning and we're all improving, and so I can't tell you exactly what the fall will look like, but it will be different than those last 2 weeks of the term where we just had to throw everything together and get through it. But we are, I'm going to say again that as soon as we have information, we'll share it with you as to what the fall is going to look like. But at this point, we don't know. Will students be offered a pass, no credit option this spring, summer? No, that was just for the winter term, and it will only be for the winter term. For the spring, summer, it'll be normal grading. And so you will receive the grade on your transcript that you receive in the course. There won't be that pass, no credit option. Will lectures be recorded to be able to watch at a later time? Some instructors will be doing this. Again, we did a survey on the instructors. Some instructors will be doing this. They will be recording them and posting them, but not all are. Just so you know too, they will be asking you ahead of time, let you know that it will be recorded. It is instructor preference. So look in that course outline and ask the question during the first class to find out what the plan is for that instructor for that course. Will there be participation marks during the lecture time? Yes, some of the courses will be having participation during the lecture time. So that's why it's very important that you attend the class at the time and find out from the instructor. We had the question earlier about, you had one student had a conflict. They wanted to take 2 courses that were being offered at the same time. It's not possible, and you don't want to miss out on those participation grades as well. So yeah, participation marks will be for some of the courses being determined during the lecture time. Okay, how will exams take place? Will we be able to take it during a certain time period, like 24 hours, for example, to accommodate students who work or have other classes? There will be an exam schedule that's prepared for the spring summer for those courses that are having final exams, similar as we do in every term. Depending on what the instructor is doing with their exam, there could be that 24-hour time period. It could be at the specific time. It is the instructor preference. So again, ask those questions. And I would share your concerns with the instructor as well. If you have concerns that, that you might need extra time, let them know that. And then once they know your concerns, it's their decision, but they can then make a decision based on the understanding of what the students' needs are and what their concerns are. Oh, another question just popped in. Okay, if you have any burning questions, get them into the chat room, into the chat now, because we're getting near the end of the questions. For internship, will it be canceled or ongoing for next school year? It's not going to be canceled. So, we still are going to be, bringing students into the internship program for next year. But as all of you can probably guess, some employers are, not able to employ students this summer, we've seen, and we don't know what that's going to look like for the fall. So we are going forward with internship, supporting students. All of the resources are, being put forward to support our students for internship. So that is our plan, but we understand your concerns that, there might be some employers that are not able to offer those internships that they normally do. But that's our goal, to have internship moving forward. Okay, another question. How will SAS work with online learning and online assessments? So if you are accommodated by SAS, you should be getting in touch with them. They are there. They are providing the accommodations and the services that our students need. Slightly different than what they have been, but they are there. So contact your SAS advisor, coordinator, talk to them, and they will be supporting you. I would do that sooner rather than later. I would be contacting them now to make sure that you have the appropriate supports in place. And so that can also be communicated with the instructor, and everything can be set up so that helps you to succeed in the online learning environment, same as it would be, in the if we were in in-person classes as well. Good question. Okay, so that is it for the questions. I want to thank all of you for participating in this and asking those great questions, because that's given us some things to go away with and be thinking about, and preparing to advise and answer questions of other students that I know have the same questions as you do. I also want to thank everyone that participated today. So thank you to all of the students and to Greg for answering questions, and for Marty for making this this webinar work, and Nydia for putting it all together. So thank you to everyone. And I want to thank all of you for participating, as I said, for being there. And I want to wish you all success in your spring summer classes and learning in an online environment. So best of luck. Know that we're all here. Okay, and so we're all here to support you. And don't forget about our academic advisors and the student experience office are there to help you. CPD is there to help you, as we've talked about. And UTS, if you have technical issues, you can contact the UTS website as well. So we're here to support you. We're still, the academic advisors, student experience office, the relationship managers, everyone is still there, just virtually. So if you have issues, you have questions, you have concerns, don't be afraid to reach out. And I just want to end off by saying we miss you, and we wish we could be in person with you, but that will come soon enough. And again, all the best of luck in your courses this summer. Thanks again for tuning in.